Shri Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Agajanana Padmarkam Gajananam Aharnisham Anekadam Tam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. Welcome to all for this session on Ganesha Purana, the chapter 49. In the previous chapter, we have seen how Shiva finally slain Yaman Tripura. Yaman Tripura was burnt into ashes. And before that, in the previous battle, when Shiva retired from the battle, Parvati was still residing in the Kailasa. The demon Tripura, when being victorious, went on to kidnap Parvati. By that time, Parvati ran away to her father's house for a refuge, and Himavan had placed her in a cave. But now, after Deman Tripura had left for his city, before the war between Deman Tripura and Shiva happened, in between that period, Parvati came out of the cave and she was crying to go back to her father's house and then get reunited with her husband Shiva. And at that time, a hunter saw her and gave information to Himavat, and Himavan had her father had brought her home. But then Parvati asked the way she can get reunited with Shiva. So Himavan in this chapter is going to explain to her about the great vrata of Gajanana, and by celebrating which she can please Gajanana, who will going to reunite Parvati with Shiva. So Parvati asked her father, O repository of compassion, O Lord of mountains, you are my father. Tell me at once about the worship of Lord of all, Ganesha, the teacher of the worlds. I will have continual happiness after finding Shiva, something which will bring benefit for people in the world. So it is not only her reuniting with the Shiva, she also wanted this vrata to be used by people who are in distress in the world. Himavan, her father, he explained to her, because of my affection for you, O goddess, and for the benefit of beings in the world, I will tell you this auspicious, superlative, secret teaching with your mind intent. Listen to this. After waking up at break of the day, at daybreak, that is early in the morning, one should go in a southwestern direction, and having first covered the ground with the strips of grass and wood, while standing but not crawling, the wise man should remove some dirt after he has discharged his urine and feces. He should make himself pure as previously described. This was in the past when the number of people on this earth was very much less, and people were discharging their urine and feces in the open spaces. But now that the earth is densely populated, this practice has been abandoned, and these days people use their toilets where they will go into discharge their urine and the feces. The Kala Dharma, the time with the time practices have changed. So here Himavan is just explaining about the cleanliness to be followed before performing the vrata. But first, the person should discharge all the dirt from his body. Then, after he has cleaned his tongue and teeth, he should go to a river, a pond, a pool, a lake, or even a well in order to do the bathing. Even this practice is not much practiced except in the village areas where the water in the pond or the lake or uh, even in any source of water, it is still quite pure. Whereas in cities, people use their bathrooms for the purpose. After he has taken an initial bath with mud on his body, people use soap in these days. He should take a bath with water accompanied by mantras, which hardly people do. But it is better always to have the bath and while taking the bath to chant the mantras so that they will not only get purified with their outer body, their inner mind also will get purified by the mantras. Then he should make a mark on his forehead with clay, sandalwood, or kumkum powder, depending upon the sect, depending upon the whatever is the beliefs of an individual, whether a person is a Vaishnava or a Shaiva, whether he considers Shiva as a supreme deity or Vishnu as a supreme deity. Accordingly, people make a mark on their forehead and apply the kumkum powder on that. After he has put on two washed garments, seated himself on a clean seat, and carefully completed all the obligatory rites, he should grind up some soil which is fine, soft, and free of small stones, very clean, moistened with water, and does not come from an ant hill. So this is the some of the rituals people follow early in the morning just after having the bath. And when the wise man has made himself a lovely, auspicious image of Ganesha, the image of Ganesha is always made with a fine, soft mud which is free of small stones. It should also be very clean, moistened with water, and that mud should not be taken from any ant hill. That is a necessary. And with that mud, they should form the image of Ganesha, resplendent with four arms and complete in all its parts, holding the appropriate weapons such as axe, etc. And after he has placed that handsome, solid image on a pedestal and has washed his hands, he should diligently assemble all the materials for worship, such as water, etc. Eight uncrushed perfumes, red flowers, and galium. Then, after bringing 108 excellent pure blades of green and white Durva grass is considered one auspicious flower for offering it to Gajanana. Green or white Durva grass with three, five, or seven leaves. He should bring for the Lord a ghee lamb, an oil lamb, and a variety of pure offerings, comprising of sweetmeats, cakes, spicy sweetmeats, and a rice pudding with brown sugar, very fine broiled rice with juice from Kadira tree, which is mixed with powdered betel nut and camphor together with various seasoning. Betel mixed with the cloves, cardamom, and the vegetable fibers, as well as fruits such as those from the plantain and the grape, the rose apple, mango, and the breadfruit, etc., and coconuts as they grow in their seasons. The appropriate instruments for many kinds of arati offerings, and something made of gold as present for the priest who help us to perform that worship. When all the requisite material have been brought together in this way, that means the image of Ganesha, is stationed in a secluded spot where he has seated himself on a seat made of kusha grass and the skin of the black antelope. He should undertake the removal of ghosts and stilling of breaths. Generally, the person who perform the worship, they will either sit on a seat made of kusha grass or the skin of black antelope. Again, because of certain restrictions that these black antelopes have now become endangered species. People use the seat made of kusha grass even today. And then after sitting over there, they do certain rituals to remove all the ghosts within themselves, and then they still the breaths called as pranayama. After setting the directions, he should bow to the gods such as Ganesha, and then, in accord with the method in Agamas, they explain the way the worship is supposed to be done. He should consign the syllables pertaining to the inside and outside of the body. He should display his hand signs such as uh, samnidhana in accordance. This is basically the karanyasa and the anganyasa as it was taught to him by his teacher. After he has performed the consigning of the letters in the six parts of the body, that is basically to assume the presence of God in different parts of his body, because by assuming that, the one becomes pure to perform the worship of Gajanana, and has completely purified the implements of the further ritual. He should meditate on Gajanana in this form, where he has one tusk, ears like winnowing fans, an elephant's face, and four arms, where he is carrying an elephant's hook and a noose and sweetmeats in his hands, and where he is wearing a garland of red flowers on his neck and another lovely one on his hand. And as one who gives boons to his devotees, he constantly accompanied by Siddhi and Buddhi, who gives good fortune and intelligence to men, and accomplishment in the law, power, sensuosity, and liberation. And the one whom the supreme sages led by Brahma, Rudra, Vishnu, and Indra eulogize. Come, bearer of the universe, who is worshipped excellently by the gods and demons, Lord of those who have no lords, who is omniscient. The Gajanana himself has no lord above him. He is omniscient and worshipped by all the gods. That's basically the invocation where Gajanana is invoked into that particular image. And then, as Gajanana is invoked into that image, since we have invited Gajanana into our home for the worship, we need to offer him the seat. So we say, God, sit on this celestial golden lion throne with its many jewels that I have offered. So, asanam kalpayami. So we offer him a seat. O God, Lord of the gods, Lord of all, accept this food ablution consisting of water taken from all the sacred foods and contain uncrushed sacred flowers. And with that, we perform the food ablution. Like the way whenever any guest comes to our home, first, we invite them into our home and then we offer them a seat. And since they have come from outside, we help them to wash their food. But in India, it is generally the practice whenever a guest comes to our home, it is the responsibility of the owner of the home to do the food ablution to that great person. Now, the God Himself is coming into the home. So, in the form of food ablution, we just drop 2 spoons of water into the Arghya. O power unfailing, I have given you gold beetle with areca nut, jewels, beetle nuts, fruit, pearls, coral, 8 fragrances, and uncrushed flowers. Make profitable this offering of water for the guest. That is where, as like we offer a welcome drink to the guest who came to our home. So here in India, we offer water to the guest who come to our home, and here we offer water to Gajanana. Lord, sip this water with its smell of camphor, sesame, and cloves, water of the highest quality. I have requested from all the sacred foods, such as Ganga. So, this is water for sipping by Gajanana. And accept this sesame lovely because of its softness, scented with fragrance of ashoka, champaka, mimosa, jasmine, and mogara trees. Whether it is for drinking water or for a water for the bath, because now we will going to offer water for bathing for auspiciousness. That water is always scented with herbs. For your bath, I have offered pure milk. It is absolutely vivifying for all beings, helps accomplish the sacrifice, and has been produced by cow of plenty. Milk is considered as one of the very sacred and auspicious liquid. So, after offering bathing in the pure water mixed with the scents of the herbs, the next thing in line is offering bath to Gajanana with the milk. But here remember, since the original image being worshipped is made of mud, we take a small metallic statue, small, very small metallic statue of Gajanana, and all these bath offering, whether it is bathing with water or bathing with the milk or any other thing, it will be offered to that small metallic statue of Gajanana, and then that same thing will be simply sprinkled on the mud statue of Gajanana. Accept this choice sour milk, and I have offered for your bath. All people like it. It is pure. It is produced from cow's milk. Now, when the cow's milk was turned into a sour milk, also known as dathi, so that is offered to Gajanana for the bath. Dadhisnanam. For your bath, I have also offered ghee produced from fresh butter, as it is the food for a food of the gods, part of the sacrifice and a cause of satisfaction to everyone. Now I am offering ghee for your bath, and the ghee will be poured on that metallic statue, and the same will be sprinkled on the main statue made of mud. O God, for your bath I have offered honey produced by the red bee. It increases everyone's fiery energy and gives nourishment to everyone. And honey for your bath. And the honey is poured on that small statue and sprinkled on the main statue. In order for you to bath, take this ground sugar I have offered to you. It was produced from the essence of sugarcane, is quite captivating and free of impurities. So the grounded sugar is poured on that small statue, and that same thing is sprinkled on the main statue. In order for you to bath, I have brought a treasure produced from the essence of sugarcane. It gives nourishment, is the cause of delight for everyone. It is sweet and the cause of every kind of sweetness. The treacle is trickle is poured on the Gajanana statue. Accept this mixture of honey and milk topped up with clarified butter, honey, and curds, which I have brought for your worship in a brass drinking vessel covered with brass. And here we offer a mix of honey and milk. And at the end of all these things, we offer once again the pure water, Shuddhodaka, Lord of the gods. Accept this well scented water from bathing correctly. It was taken at my request from a very sacred food. O Lord, I am offering you pure water at the end of this bathing. Accept this pair of red garments. Now, once that the bathing is done, which in Sanskrit is called as Abhisheka, and after performing this Abhisheka, now the god is adorned with red garments. Except this pair of red garments I have offered, they defend the modesty of the gods and are exceedingly fine and priceless, and we offer the garment. Accept, O Supreme Lord, this resplendent sacred thread with its jewels and gold offered devoutly. So here, a sacred thread which is worn by Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas for performing their regular rituals. So that was offered to the Lord Gajanana. With your permission, I will place on each of your limbs these many golden ornaments encrusted with many jewels. Now, once that Ignopavita is offered, next thing is to offer the gold ornament to the Lord Gajanana. Be compassionate, O God. On your 12 limbs, I am going to smear this red sandalwood of the highest quality blended with 8 perfumes. And here I am offering the sandalwood paste for you. And there is a medicinal reason also for that. That the god is now bathed in water and various milk products. At the end of it, we need to offer him the sandalwood so that it will not going to cause any breathing problems or anything for him. But of course, it looks very ridiculous because what can happen to the god? That it is only our sensuousness with which we treat God as someone who is similar to us. O Lord of the world, accept this rice mixed with sandalwood paste, which I am going to offer for ornamentation on your tilaka, that is akshate, that is offered to the Lord Gajanana. Lord of the earth, accept the flowers of Patala, Parnikara, Bandhuka, Red Lotus, Mogra, Malati. These are all different flowers which are offered to Gajanana. Accept this enchanting garland with its bilwa leaves set with birds and the variety of lotuses. So we offer flower to God. And then comes the time for him to have the food. But before offering him the food, it is essential to make sure to put some smoke around so that no insects will disturb him taking the food. And not just that, offer him some light so that he can identify where the food is. And this scientific aspects with our feelings, we do it like this. Accept this delium incense I have offered for your 10 limbs. It causes a pleasant smell and destroys all evil. We offer the incense sticks in front of Gajanana, like the way we offer a scented dining room for our guests. So we are doing a similar thing for the god. O omniscient God, Lord of all worlds, accept this auspicious lantern of the highest quality which removes the darkness. Obeisance to you, O God of the gods. And we show the lantern of light in front of him. And now is the time for him to have the food. And how come the statue can have the food? Generally, it is our assumption that by showing the food to Gajanana, we assume that Gajanana has received that food, so that then onwards it will be distributed as his prasada. Accept this pudding of unsurpassable cooked rice pudding with ground sugar and various kinds of cooked food which is embellished with many splendid spices and curds, milk and ghee, with cloves and cardamom. as well as crushed pepper and some round cakes made of pulse, fried in oil, and decoctions made with milk. That's called as payasam, and crushed trigonella grains with buttermilk mixed in water with rajika grains, crushed with round ground beans, pepper, pumpkin, cumin seed, and hingu seasoning, as well as round cakes which are prepared, well cooked, and then roasted together with pulse cakes, large round cakes, sweetmeats, flour cakes, and small round sweetmeats, and an offering consisting of five immortal substances with thin cakes made of rice, an excellent broth with salt, hingu seasoning, turmeric, and salt. And here is the Naivedya, the food offering to the god. Eat this food agreeably and drink as you will this fragrant water which instills complete satisfaction. The world is satisfied when you are satisfied, notwithstanding that you are always satisfied. Being the Supreme Deity Himself, He is always satisfied. But we, for our feeling, we offer Him the food and assume that by eating that food, He will get satisfied. Notwithstanding that you are always satisfied, now I am going to give you well scented water to be taken before and after the meal. And I am going to give you some more water for purifying your saliva. Accept these fruits, O Lord of the gods, the breadfruit, mango, apple, sweet lime, pomegranate, etc., grapes, cooked plantains, jujube berries, and date fruits, coconuts, oranges, figs, watermelons, and cucumber. Generally, people choose the fruit which grows in and around in that area so that that will be not only affordable to them, it will also be healthier for them if they choose to use the fruits that grow in that area. What they consume, the same thing they will first offer it to Lord Gajanana and then they will going to consume. And I'm going to give you some more water for purifying your saliva. So in between, madhye swadudakam samarpayami. So in between, while offering that, we keep pouring a spoon of water into the arghapatra as though it is water offered to Gajanana. Accept this nice sandalwood powder of the highest quality, which is made from very pure substances and is to be rubbed on your body and hands. Now that the god has finished eating the food, we need to offer him water to wash his hand, and not only washing his hand, after washing his hand, we need to offer him the sandalwood paste and other fragrances so that his hand will not remain stained with the scent of the food. Accept this nice sweet smelling powder named Avira for adorning and parting of your hair. It comes from bamboo essence and contains sweet salura. Let it be colored with red dye and juice from Kadira tree mixed with powdered betel nut and camphor, as well as betel nut containing lotus filaments mixed with cardamoms and cloves. This is generally called as tambula. After having the food, people have the habit of eating the betel leaves with the betel nuts. So that same thing is offered to Lord Gajanana. God, in your presence, I'm going to make available an honorarium of gold in order to gain perfect results in case the ritual has too much or too little. It is at the end of offering the food to Lord, we need to give him a gold coin. These days, any coin that is that is under circulation in that particular part, so that coin itself will be washed and it is given. Generally, it is a practice that whenever we invite the guests to our home, we offer them while they are having the food or at the end of having the food, we give them a small coin as a token of our gratitude for coming to our home and receiving the food that we offer to them. O Supreme Lord, accept this beautiful garland bound with auspicious lotuses and red, white, and yellow flowers, which is basically the garland. So we offer him the garland, and I have offered 21 blades of durva grass having 3 or 5 yellow or white leaves. These are blades of durva grass which are very sacred to Gajanana. O God, I will perform 21 circumambulations, and at each step you cause my evil acts to be destroyed. O Lord of the gods, and that is where a person get up from the seat and do the circumambulation and by himself he lie down on the floor offering namaskara to Gajanana and requesting him to ward off all the evil acts done by the person. Accept these visually pleasant lamps placed in a vessel made of gold, brass, silver, and copper. This is where they take the arati and they start waving it in front of Gajanana. That's a way of respecting him. O Supreme Lord, accept this arati lamp fired by 5 wicks. It is a lamp and like a pleasant moon, it prevents one from going astray. And just as its ashes are purificatory, so must you remove all evils of my life. Then seating oneself, making one's mind absolutely immovable, one should eulogize him with various kinds of eulogies, wise sayings, and recitations of his 1,000 names. Lord of the weak, repository of compassion, God, waited upon by the host, eulogized by the perfected ones, Girija, Shesha, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, and the Brahmins, hindrance of all evils, utterly skillful, Lord of the triple world, Lord, O Lord, make my devotion fruitful, forbear with all my transgressions. With this, Himavan explained to the goddess Parvati the entire procedure of performing offering worship to Lord Gajanana with what is called as Shodashopachara, because in this there are 16 different offerings to Lord Gajanana. After worshipping the image in this way and bowing prostrate, one should recite this mantra to the one who gives absolute perfection. Thus ends the 49th chapter of Upasana Khanda of the glorious Ganesha Purana, in which we have heard how exactly the worship of Gajanana is to be performed with the Shodashopachara, that is 16 different upachara, 16 different offerings. So this was explained by Himavan to Parvati so that Parvati can do the same worship to Lord Gajanana. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puravasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.